Now at 6, we hear from a family who lost a loved one in a deadly home collapse from Tropical Storm Debby. A community trying to come together after the storm ripped the roof off a school. And video shows children rescued from fast-moving water in Wake County. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Deborah Morgan.
And I'm Gerald Owens. We have seen pop-up tornadoes knocking down trees and knocking out power to go along with massive flooding across the area. This is the newest information at 6 o'clock. We've had 24 tornado warnings today. 5 of them have been confirmed. Debby, now a tropical depression, is causing several problems across North Carolina, including power outages, 73,874 right now. People are in the dark, according to Ready NC.
We have live team coverage. WRAL's Dan Haggerty and multiple crews are covering this storm and the damage Debby has left behind. We begin with meteorologist Mike Mays in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Mike, what's the latest on the storm and our threat?
We've seen some of the worst damage today in Wilson County.
Yeah, that community was hit so hard. WRAL's Dan Haggerty leads our live team coverage from Springfield Middle School. Dan, luckily the tornado hit so early in the morning that no one was in or around the school.
People here are going through a lot, Deb. There was a man killed in this storm. A number of homes were damaged. And, of course, we have the extensive damage to the middle school, a place that so many families were counting on attending the new school year in just a couple of weeks. Drone 5 gives you a vantage point over top of this building. You can see the extent of the damage, the roof that was torn up. You can see portions of that building that appear destroyed. The video from the ground is just as discouraging. As you take a look inside the building, you can see that it's not just the exterior that's been damaged, but inside as well, pretty deep into the structure. Time and time again, when we cover natural disasters like this, you hear the adage that property can be replaced, but lives cannot. Unfortunately, this community was not spared from that tragedy. A man was killed in this storm overnight. WRAL's Kristen Severance has been in that community today, talking to neighbors and learning more about who this man was. Kristen.
You know, Dan, family members tell me that 60-year-old Brian Barnes lived in this home his entire life until a tornado came through and destroyed the home and sadly took that man's life. We keep seeing remnants of Brian Barnes' life out here. We've seen 3 cats so far come out of the rubble. And, you know, family and friends, they are just in shock that this happened early this morning. Family members of Brian Barnes had to come and see what was left of his home for themselves. Sister Pam Berger heard the tornado warnings and texted her brother right away.
And I texted him at 3:15, you know, you okay? And I never heard anything from him.
His home on Lloyd Street in Lucama has a basement. We were there as neighbors came and searched the area, calling his name, hoping that maybe he made it down there. Fire officials said he died when the tornado hit. He was pulled from the first-floor bedroom.
But he wasn't a hard guy to get along with. It's like I told the rest of them this morning, this is like a small town that Jason Aldean's on. You mess with one, you mess with all of us right here in this neck of the woods right here.
So how do you feel knowing like he's gone?
It's going to take a while to set in because it's hard to believe.
Pam describes the last time she talked to her brother. What can you tell us about Brian?
He was fun. He was generous. I don't know what to say. I just start crying. Helpful. Came to my house last night. I was going to come over this morning and put a garbage disposal in. Said I'll call you in the morning. And this happened.
Yeah, you know, it's just so sad. And Pam was out here, you know, with other friends looking through the home, trying to see what they could salvage. And on her way out, she had something. She was holding something. And I asked her what it was. And she had found a record. It was in perfect condition. It was the Allman Brothers record. And she said she's going to keep it, maybe give it to some of his family members. Friends, neighbors kept stopping by all day because they were very close with Brian. They said he would host all of the neighborhood block parties, and they truly just cannot believe this happened early here today. And Dan, I know that you've been talking to so many people as well. You just feel like people are still in shock.
Certainly. Kristen, thank you so much, and our hearts obviously with his family and neighbors as well. And nothing compares to the loss of life, but there are so many people in this community thinking about how their lives are going to progress over the next couple weeks as school begins to start, and it's unclear if it will be at the middle school behind me. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan has been covering that angle of the story today and joins us with what you've been able to learn.
Yeah, by taking a look behind us, the future is really unknown for 475 students that call this school home. They're supposed to start in just a couple of weeks in August, but as you can see with the damage, we just don't know what that looks like yet. Of course, we talked to a former principal of the school, as well as Governor Roy Cooper, who was boots on the ground getting a look inside today at the damage.
From Drone 5, a gaping hole. A farther look inside, classrooms unrecognizable. Yellow insulation strewn about.
Looked like an explosion.
Governor Roy Cooper walking through the damage today. Springfield Middle, built in 2000, now battered and bruised.
I know that that's the 7th grade wing that we can see here, and then where the truck is, the 6th grade wing. And a lot of memories of, good kids, good teachers in those wings that, which is making it again tough to sit here and look at it.
That's Marcus Spell, a former principal here, having a hard time looking at a place he spent years in.
A lot of memories there. Spent about 17 years in that building.
From Drone 5, you can see Tropical Storm Debby placing a target on the 6th and 7th grade wings. But then you see the 2 other wings, 8th grade classrooms virtually untouched.
The county's already working on next steps, getting it inspected, but obviously they have a lot of work ahead in repairing the school.
Neighbors that live across the street thankful that the school wasn't in session. They live feet away from the devastation.
First, I thank God, because it could have been me. Could have been worse.
475 middle schoolers attend the rural school. They're supposed to enter these walls on August 26th, but right now that remains up in the air.
Thank God the children were not there when this storm hit. What a devastating blow to this school.
A strong message there from Governor Roy Cooper. You can imagine a tornado coming through here when school's in session. Just a blessing that was not the case. This is a school behind us, Dan, that was built 24 years ago, and we've seen portable generators and AC units and power crews getting to work nearly just hours after the destruction, trying to put the pieces back together for some normalcy during the school year.
And, of course, we'll keep people updated on the progress that they make. Chelsea, thank you so much. I do want to remind everybody, we spoke to a county commissioner earlier today who mentioned some other tragedies that this community has gone through over just the past couple of weeks. It wasn't long ago that a lightning strike caused a historic church down the road to burn to the ground. A few weeks before that, there was a tragic accident on the interstate that killed 5 people. A lot of the first responders who responded to that accident were responding to homes and issues due to this tornado today. So to say that these folks have gone through a tough run would be an understatement. Deb, Gerald?
Yeah, it's amazing how so many people's lives can be affected so profoundly in such little time as time enough for a tornado to touch down there. Dan, thank you very much.
I want to tell you a little bit more about Governor Cooper and his visit there on the ground to the school. He spoke about what he saw inside the building.
It looked like an explosion. The window was blown out. What was amazing to me were, a strong brick structure, how many different bricks were everywhere. I mean, it was an explosion is the best way to describe it, because this tornado came up and directed itself all the way through this school. Devastating damage, chairs everywhere, insulation hanging from the ceiling, light bulbs hanging, really devastating.
Boy, the power of that tornado in just such an instant.
Yeah, meteorologist Mike Mays. Mike, at least they get a break from this severe weather for a while.
Yeah, we're still seeing some rain bands coming through. None showing signs of any kind of imminent rotation. This is the only suspect one I'm keeping an eye on. We'll have a closer look at that with Futurecast coming up.
And this is Brian Schrader in the WRAL newsroom, where we have been busy here tracking damage reports all day long. Coming up, I'll tell you what we're learning about power outages across the area.
And then several children are safe tonight after crews had to rescue them from a rushing creek in Raleigh. They talked to WRAL about the moment they knew they were in trouble.